What's up, friends? It's that time again. We're going to talk about some Lorwyn cards because we got some previews, which means we have some underrated cards to talk about. But I don't talk about them by myself. I have my main man, Dev, here with me. What is up, dude?
What is going on, man? Yeah, I'm glad I don't have to talk about them by myself either. That'd be kind of sad. I'm glad that we have each other. I'm always so glad that we have each other. Really,
We
in
we
every
do
way.
we do a lot of talking by ourselves. It's okay to have somebody come help out every once in a while.
That's true. It's nice to have somebody visit the place from time to time. I do get lonely.
That
Um,
is true. That
but
is true.
yeah. But we got an exciting one today, man. And I think we got a really fun one too, because I feel like this set a lot of people aren't like super duper into, meaning that, well, at least competitively, people don't think the set really has the vibe for standard. But I think that means that there's room for a lot of underrated stuff. I do.
You know, I would say this, even if, and I don't necessarily agree, but even if I did agree that it wasn't so impactful for standard, it definitely checked every box for nostalgia and popularity because people have been
Yes.
excited as hell about this.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
I'm okay with that as an option too, you know?
I think that this is one of my favorite sets in a really long time. And as far as the power level goes, I think we're going to see a similar trajectory to Bloomborough, where Bloomborough came out and it was like, it's a cool set. I really like it, but like, how good is it in standard? And like multiple cards had to be banned. It's insane. You know what I mean? Like Bloomborough was a really strong set, still is. And I
But
think that that's kind of what we're looking at here.
I will say this though, even when people had that opinion, it still sold well right out of the gate because
Oh, yeah.
every casual player, people who like cute animals, whatever, all bought the setup. It's still one of the better selling standard sets,
Yep.
which is
Yep.
crazy.
As far as like in universe IP, I think it is the best selling set of the last couple of years. And it's because Bloomborough was great, by the way. And in some ways,
Oh yeah.
Lorwyn does have those same kind of vibes. I think it's going to do pretty well altogether. But I actually do think it's a much better set in terms of power level than anyone's giving it credit for.
Well, I mean,
So,
it's got all the like if you like elves, if you like goblins, if you like merfolk, if you like like a bunch of the popular creature types got a lot of extra cards. Hell, the set even has a dragon in it and has whatever, right?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
whatever you're looking for, there's likely going to be something for you, which is pretty cool.
Yep. Yeah. I love when a set does that. You know, I think we got it. Not just for the nostalgia people, but for like anybody going to Lorwyn for the first time, there's plenty to fall in love with. You know, there's plenty
And
of
dude,
reasons. Go ahead.
low key, Wizards spent a big chunk of money because they went and got the whole Jim Henson production thing going on.
That
Wasn't that
looked really
crazy?
expensive. Yeah. Crazy expensive. I'm not going to say that it was, I love the song or anything, but I respect what they did. And you can tell that they spent a lot of not just money, but like time. I think
Yeah.
that right now Wizards is getting a lot of flack for not putting enough time and effort into their in universe sets. And that trailer proves that they're at least, they care a little. They
Oh
care
yeah.
enough to get the Jim Henson company. That's big.
Because I was trying to figure out what that would even cost. Because you had them make multiple puppets just for that, right?
Yeah.
They built out stages for it. They wrote the song for it and performed it, right? And they even did some extra social media clips because there's one where they're like making joke about like a shockland or something or whatever, and so it's like they really went in on it. And
Yeah.
again, I'm with you. While it wasn't 100% for me, I know so many people that just loved it. A bunch of people even
Same.
outside of the sphere of magic were like, "Oh, well, what's this? What's a Lorwyn?"
Oh, this is neat. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and they were kind of curious. So it
I
worked.
think
It
that
did what it was
even
supposed to do.
like even for people outside of the sphere of magic, they hear about I think the song does a good job of getting across the basic concept of what this world is. I
Yeah.
think that there's going to be a lot of people who see it like, oh, world of light, world of dark. That's kind of neat. So I think that they did everything they were supposed to do with marketing this set. So, but ultimately, I think it's pretty good too. I think it's not just creature types like, oh, there's elves in this set. I think there's a lot of really good stuff. So
Well, on that note, let's try to get people excited about some cards we're excited about. So,
yeah.
what's your number 5 for underrated cards?
All right. So I will go ahead and tell you that in terms of like pre-release prices, this is the most expensive card on my list. It's currently going for $8, which if you see our overrated video, like everything in that video is going for like $20, $25. So $8 is actually not that bad in terms of pre-release prices for Harmonized Crescendo. This is 6 mana, 4 and double blue for an instant with Convoke. Choose a creature type, draw a card for each permanent you control of that type. So it is, instant speed, distant melody with Convoke. And obviously, I think that the price driver on this is probably Commander. But the reason this card is on my list is because I think standard players need to pay attention to this card right now. I think that this sometimes at the end of your opponent's turn costs 2 or 3 mana to cast. and puts you way up on cards in fairies, in merfolk, in elementals, even in like some of the kind of standard Demir lists that we have going right now. So long as you can maybe switch a thing or two out here and get more creature types working, well, then suddenly you don't even have to have a board full of, like, you don't have to have 5 merfolk to do this. You could have 5 creatures, 3 of which happen to be merfolk. Tap all your creatures down. You don't have to tap a certain creature type down to convoke this. Just whatever creatures you want. Choose merfolk, draw 3 at the end of your opponent's turn. Seems good. I think the instant speed on this is wacky. I really do. And I think that even though it looks like it costs 6, it probably only costs 3 and draws like 4 cards. And that seems unbelievable. So how do you feel?
I think it's definitely playable. I think there's a world where, like you're saying, for Merfolk, really, because we even still have stuff in standard that can make Merfolk tokens, right?
Yeah.
So that's possible. I would, or even just anything that makes tokens in general, this could be included, right? Because again, it could be anything as long as you can find a way to get 2 blue, whether that be creatures or lands. And you might even just like tap some creatures, pay 2 blue, because we have enough like starting towns and multiversal passage, blah, blah, whatever, right?
Good point.
Or some mono white token, whatever, and you're just playing the blue lands, right? There's enough of those that you could do and still be fine. And cast this and maybe some counters in your deck.
That's a
Right?
good
So
point. A couple of turns with like an Elspeth Stormslayer making tokens and just draw 4, 6, whatever. Like if you weren't already winning the game, that's a good point.
yeah, there's a bunch of different things you could do, I think, to make this playable. So yeah, like, is it gangbusters? No, but underrated? Yeah. I think this will show up more often than we think, which is probably what makes it classify as underrated. Again, I
Yeah.
don't know if this is gonna like storm through the ladder every day, but when your opponent casts it during your instep and draws 3 cards, you're gonna be like, gosh damn it. You know, right?
Yeah. Yep. That's how I
Like
look at it. I feel like if my opponent draws 3 or 4 during my instep, I'm like, oh crap, I just lost the game because of that. Like,
yeah, you're gonna feel that way.
yeah, I do. I feel like, especially in these, like, we're not looking at a 4 of, but in like creature type matters decks or something, I could see a 1 or 2 of. And
Yeah.
if you happen to be like in a war of attrition, fighting it out, neither one of you can really attack or block profitably, this just hits really hard on like turn 5, draws 3 or 4 cards, and that'll put you way up. So I don't know, man. I think there's a lot to this. I think people see 6 mana and they just kind of turn their brains off. But
Now,
I think it's a standard playable card. I really
let me
do.
say this. If you play Brawl or Commander and you have any creature themed deck that plays blue, like you're playing this card,
Yeah, I honestly
right?
think this card might be worth more than $8 just based off commander playability. It's like Distant Melody is like a 50 cents card, but I do feel like this is like much better than Distant Melody. Like instant speed and the fact that you convoke it mostly. Convoke makes this massive
Yeah,
difference to me.
slivers, merfolk,
Yeah. Yep.
fairies, whatever. Hell, fairies in standard because you do have things that make fairy tokens, right? That's a thing. So like, I don't yeah, this could show up in a few places, I think.
Yeah, I think especially again, Merfolk and Fairies and Standard are both already like tempo based, instant speedy kind of decks. And so since you're on a flash plan anyway, you might play 2
Mhm.
copies of this and just blow your. I mean, you've got like, oh my god, the 2 mana Merfolk that comes down and stuns a guy. For some reason, I'm losing his name right now.
2 mana
Um,
merfolk that comes the it's a 2/1. But yeah, I
it's
know
a
what you're talking
2/1
about. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Flood Pit's Drowner. That's his name.
Yep.
Flood Pit's Drowner, Tishana's Tidebinder, 3 mana with flash. I mean, those are just 2 Merfolk with flash you could play in a deck right now. And like you if you built Merfolk, you would play those guys. So with so many decent flash Merfolk already, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't see a reason
But
why not. Like I said, probably will surprise people, I think.
I think so. I think it'll show up. But what have you got for your number 5?
All right. My number 5, and this is one that I've seen as low as $4 in some places. So, Sapling Nursery. This is 6 green green. So,
Oh, it's this. Yeah.
obviously, it's an enchantment. Affinity for forest, though, which is pretty cool. It does have landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, you make a 3/4 tree folk, and then you can pay 1 and a green, exile the enchantment, tree folk, and forest you control, gain indestructible until end of turn. This card does a lot, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, this card's actually kind of wild. Yeah.
it does a lot. Like, one, you already have a bunch of ways to ramp and get extra lands and get force or whatever anyway. So often you're going to be playing this, I'm assuming, for like 3 or 4. A lot of times when
Yeah.
you play it,
I would
turn
say about
4, you
4
play it for
mana.
4. Fine.
Right.
but just getting an additional body for every land that enters feels kind of big. And it's a 3/4 body. It's not even like a 2/2 or a 1/1, right?
Yeah.
And then the bonus effect, if you are doing all the ramping with, you know, Earthbender Ascension, you know, that type of stuff, searching out lands. Now some of your lands are creatures that you can also give indestructible at some point.
Yep.
This
Yep.
thing's kind of crazy.
Kind of insane. I think this is probably like much, and I'm sure you'll agree. This is probably much more of a commander card. But this is just like Harmonized Crescendo. I think this is another one that people just see and they go, oh, it's commander or whatever, move on. I think this is potentially a very standard playable card.
Oh,
A
yeah.
card that I know for a fact that you like and I like is a Felidar Retreat.
Yep.
And this kind of makes me think of a Felidar Retreat that just makes like creatures that are almost twice as big.
Oh, no, I'm playing them in the same
crazy.
deck.
Yeah. You play them in some sort of like sweeper heavy, landfall deck that like you can sweep the board 5 times and just like get creatures anyway because you're playing lands. Now in that deck, you do have to have a number of forests, even though you're playing like plains, but we do have a number of lands in standard that can create white mana and also count as forests. So I think it'd be easy enough to make at least a fun deck like that. But I do think that, sure, 4 mana on turn 4 a lot of the time, that's tempting. What's really good is like 1 mana on turn 6 or 7 or whatever. Like you draw this late in the game, it's not going to do too much the turn you play it. But if the game is kind of starting to stretch out at that point, there's a reason you're top decking on turn 7. The game is stretching. Then suddenly this gives you more value than your opponent can probably hope to get at that point in the game.
Here's the thing, though. Like, you don't even need to play in a sweeper heavy deck. You could play green base, ramp, whatever, and then just splash enough white lands to play your Felidar Retreat. And now you have all the stuff that cares about landfall. You're making all the tokens. You can give stuff indestructible, right? Like,
I mean, I could actually see this seeing play in just like mono green stompy, as weird as that sounds. You just kind of assume that it's your 4 or 5 drop creature.
Sure.
Because most of the time that's what it's going to be. Like, I don't know, man. I think that this is good, like sweeper protection against other people's sweepers for sure. Good against decks that play a ton of removal, So
I feel like we've seen a lot of cards like, was it Primeval Bounty that had like the 3 different triggers on it, stuff like that. But they just don't work because they're all so expensive, and you might only like you might only get one part of it, right? Or you only get like 1/5/5 body or whatever. In this case, it's like, okay, I'm just playing Magic like I normally would, but I get all this extra value from it, right? Like now every land is a live draw. It's a body, right? And I may be able to protect those late in the game too.
Yeah.
Like,
and you've already kind of brought this up, but it just reiterate how good it is with like the ramp that green has right now. Like, it's good with, Summon Fenrir. It's especially good in that green white deck that we're kind of theory crafting. It's especially good with Overlord of the Hauntwoods.
Yeah.
Because it makes a land that's every land type. So I'm gonna say I'm with you on this. I really think there could be something here in standard. It's got a lot to overcome to be good in standard, but I think it's got more of a chance than anyone gives it credit for. Except for
I make a few different Felidar Retreat decks already that have been good, and this is going in a couple of them. Let me tell you,
absolutely, yeah. That's basically the big comparison I make. Is I'm a huge fan of Retreat, and I think this is just kind of a better Retreat in most ways.
Yeah,
and in Commander, you can always like sack this or whatever it is. You can make all your forest indestructible and cast like Armageddon or something. So that's always cute. A lot of fun stuff.
Sorry, dude. What's your number 4?
All right, man. My number 4, let me cross-reference. Yeah, that's correct. My number 4 is I think his name is Lluwen Imperfect Naturalist. Could also actually this could be a lady, but anyway, this is 2 mana, 2 Golgari hybrids for a 1/3 legendary elf druid. When Lluwen enters, mill 4 cards. Then you may put a creature or land card from among those cards on top of your library. You can also pay 2 and then 3 Golgari hybrids, 5 in total, and tap Lluwen and discard a land card to create a 1/1 black and green worm creature token for each land in your graveyard. This is currently less than $3.50. And for one, I think that just having this in the command zone is worth $3.50. This is the card Worm Harvest, just on a body. The cool thing is that body is a 2 mana 1/3 mill 4. And again, just like the last couple of cards, I think a lot of people are looking at this like, okay, maybe a fun build around commander or something like that. I also think it goes, for what it's worth, I think it goes in the 99 of like the Jund World Shaper deck from Edge of Eternities. I think this does some cool stuff there, but I think this is a standard playable card. I think this is a 2-drop that mills 4. And I will tell you, that is almost standard playable in and of itself. But even if it weren't standard playable, I think this activated ability is kind of bananas. 5 mana is a lot, but we have Soul Cauldron in standard to pass it around if we want to do that. And I do think, if I'm not mistaken, it's not like sorcery speed or anything. Yeah, you can
Correct.
just do it whenever you want. So on my opponent's turn, I can discard a land and make like 7 1/1s. And I don't think that's Christmas land. We see a lot of decks in standard right now in green black that want to win off like Season of Loss on turn 7. They play Ice Till Explorer, this kind of weird like Sultai self mill plan. And I think that something like this goes super duper well in a deck like that. Like almost you have to play it that well. It is something that advances your plan in the early game by milling you. It helps get key cards for you, like creatures and lands, even though they go on top, whatever. And it has this mode in the end game where like it could potentially just win the game, right? Especially if you're able to activate it more than once. And the very last thing I'll say, just one more thing. I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine.
Is that there are some things in standard that care about what's on top of your library. And this puts a creature on top of your library, which I think is interesting, if nothing else. But that's all I've got for now.
I think this might be the type of card where, well, really the first part is this is another reasonable body for something like the Insidious Roots deck.
Yeah.
Right? Where
perfect,
you get to mill stuff, you get to put a land or a creature. It does go on top, not into your hand, but that's fine. You're still getting to fill the graveyard, do your thing. Because the deck doesn't have like a lot of quality creatures to play, and this is one that is, right? And later in the game, I think it's easy to look at this ability and in your head convince yourself you have to sacrifice this.
Right. But you don't.
Yeah. Like, because I think we see that where it's like, pay this thing, pay whatever costs, sacrifice this, get some creatures. Right.
Yep.
This is like, oh no, just during your end step, I'm going to pay 5 and discard a card and make like 7 dudes.
Yeah.
All right. And then if nothing happens, I'm going to do it again. Yeah. Right.
Do that again.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm here for it. Honestly, even after a sweeper, late game, you can just be like, all right, play this thing, make a bunch of bodies, right? We're back in business. So yeah,
it's good protection. Yeah.
Would not be surprised if I see this show up. It, like I said, particularly in the Insidious Roots type decks or the decks that are trying to mill them. I don't know if you'd see it in the like Sultai Reanimator decks because they're just doing other things and just getting their big creatures.
Probably not.
But I think something like Insidious Roots is where you're going to want this.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that 2 mana is just a great deal for this guy. I really do. Even if you never activate the ability, which I'll admit is a little bit steep, but even if you never get to that, like, well, you know, at least it milled 4 when it came into play.
Yeah.
So, a lot of value on this. I really do. And I actually think that they play well in multiples. I know they're legendary, but you know, you play the first one and you never actually get to the 5-drop, you know, activated ability. Well, if you draw one later in the game, you're more likely to get to the actual activated ability. So I don't think it's like that terrible in multiples either. So
it's a good early game card and a good late game card.
Exactly. And I think you got to pay attention to 2-drops like that. I really do. So there's more than meets the eye on Lluwen. But what do you have for your number 4, I believe?
Well, speaking about cards that are good early and late, this is the opposite. It's a late game card that's good early in Vibrance. It's
this card's ridiculous.
3 and 2 split Gruul mana, so 3 and 2 mana, so 5 for a 4/4. But when it enters, if you paid 2 red, you get to deal 3 damage to any target. If you paid 2 green, you get to search for a land and gain 2 life. And it has Evoke of 2 hybrid Gruul mana. I think, and this is going to be a bold statement when I say it, so I'm about to get lit up in the comments, but I think this could end up being the most played of the incarnations.
Just it's close, but it could.
Just because 2 mana to go search for a land is good in a lot of different decks. And having 2 mana deal 3, and not even to a player or deal 3 to a creature, it's 3 to any target.
Yeah.
Yep, that's a big. Now it is sorcery speed, but still, that's a big deal.
Yeah, at least they gave us any target. I feel like they would feel compelled to make this creatures, usually, but they made it any target, so it always has a, you know, you can always use it somehow, which I like.
And this is a fantastic top deck, right? 5 mana, 4/4. You pay all the costs. you still deal 3 to something, and you get to search for land, and you gain 2 life. Like, okay. Like, why
Yeah, that's
wouldn't I
actually a
want
lot
that?
of value. Yeah,
Y
that's so
y
much value. You get, an ETB trigger, you get a creature in your graveyard. You get like the fact that a creature came into play at all might be a big deal, depending on what you've got set up. Just people forget like duress can't hit these. All
Yep.
these like little things matter so much when it comes to these evoke guys. So, a removal spell that like that can't be, duress out of your hand. That's just one example, but there's a lot that cards like this do. I think that almost every single one of these is incredible and we'll see a lot of play, except for maybe the Orzhov one, which hurts for me to say, but Deceit, the
Yeah,
blue
because that's
black
the,
one,
like, reanimator one or whatever,
right,
right? Yeah.
right. I think
Yeah.
that one's just fine. Whereas like the top three are this one for sure, the Simic one definitely, and the
Mhm.
blue black one. I think that all of those are crazy. Vibrance might have a time finding a deck, but even then, not necessarily. If there's any kind of mid range pile like Teamer that plays these colors, I think the card probably goes in, especially we talked about this in the other video. Once you actually have a copy of this in play, not evoked, sitting there, it might be fun to hit it with like Doppelgang. You won't get the ETB triggers again, but you will get like a guy. It's a
Well
body that
well,
you can
my
then
thing
copy
is,
with Gang, right? So
if
I
I'm
think
just
this goes
playing
well in some decks.
if I'm just playing, like, a Gruul aggro pile, it's like, well, now I don't have to skimp on creatures. I can just
Yeah,
still play my removal spell
right. You don't
on
have
a
to play
body.
Lightning Strike.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can just play
Yep.
yeah, sure, I'm giving up instant speed for sorcery speed, which does there is a cost for that,
Yeah, for aggro,
but
it matters less and less.
it's also gain 2 life later. Yeah, right?
Yep.
So,
Yeah,
I'm
a
good with
card in
this
your
card.
hand,
Mhm.
like a card in your hand plus 2 life is pretty good actually, Like, and it's not just go get a land. I mean, it is go get a land, but also that's a card you could discard to some effect or another.
Oh, also, I
It's
need to point out something that I think people have ignored on this card. It is search for a land.
yeah,
It's not
any
search for
land,
a
right?
basic,
Right.
it's search for a land card.
Yeah, but that's kind of unfreaking believable.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Which also means in older formats, you can go get all those combo-y lands, you can go get your dark depths, you can go whatever,
Depths.
right? Like,
Yep.
whatever dumb land
Yep.
you wanna go get.
In Commander,
There
you go get your Glacial Chasm with it,
Yep.
start doing stupid crap.
So there's
So
all kinds of things, and that's why I'm saying I think in many formats this card could now admittedly, I'm with you. I think all the incarnations are probably, at least in the beginning, gonna be overplayed and overpriced because they just do a lot.
they're really good. They're all
But
so good.
I think this one stands to potentially be the most played of them. And I could be wrong, but this is why we do the underrated, overrated stuff. We're taking a
Hey,
shot because
at the very least, you're correct that the card is underrated, like for sure.
oh sure,
I've seen people talk about the Evoke guys. It's not like I haven't seen buzz about them, but I feel like this is one that people kind of judge as mid tier, and I think it is way better than that. I really
but
do.
I think this is good just because of the wording though. The 3 damage can be any target, which is huge. Because even now, I've had games against stuff like the is it lessons decks where none of their removal can hit like a planeswalker,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Only hits creatures, stuff like that. The other thing is, like I said, the fact that you can go get any land changes everything about this card.
Yep.
Because if it was just go get a basic or whatever, like, all right, that could be a little bit of a problem because you're trying to play a bunch of multi lands or whatever. But later in the game, this is like, yeah, just go get whatever you need.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Sometimes late in the game, this will get you your land drop for that turn, which is kind of interesting.
Or even if you want to
Um,
get like a weird one of that you're playing, like the lands that make creatures unblockable, like a Rogue's Passage or
Yeah,
something
Rogue's
or whatever.
Passage, it's something, Escape Tunnel.
Yeah.
There's a fun line where I guess you go get like an Adventurer's Inn and drop that, and look at that, you gain 4 life this turn. Like, there's
Sure.
cute stuff that you can do with it. I think you're right that the any land thing is crazy. That's really good.
Yeah.
Like in a landfall deck, I could go get a Fable Passage and crack it, and go get the 2 landfall triggers. Like that's pretty good. One thing I'll say about this before we get off of it is that, like, if I'm not mistaken, there aren't too many of these evoke elementals that don't have to have like something else going on in order for you to play them. Like the black white one has to reanimate, the blue black one has to either kill a creature or bounce something. The green blue one, I think, is destroy an artifact or enchantment or something like that, right? So,
Hmm.
like, a lot of these modes require something to be happening on the table. This doesn't need anything to be occurring in the game whatsoever for it to have legal targets. You go get a land and gain 2 life. That'll happen. You can do that no matter what. Like you can never not do that. Based on a board state. So I think that that is something to point out about the card too. Like both modes are usable literally no matter what's happening in the game right
Yep,
now. And
all
that's
the
a big
time.
deal. Yeah. So you can't say that about most of them. So yeah, just
Yeah,
pretty
again,
wild card.
I think of the incarnations, this is the one I would think is going to see the most play across multiple formats, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
It's like I still have to pick Deceit, but that's the blue black one. But
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see. Because I love this one too. I really do. I like all of these.
All right. What's your number 3? I believe it is, right?
All right. We're gonna calm down on the rares. My first couple of cards have been rares that are still a few bucks. This little guy actually doesn't have a price on Scryfall yet. This is a Noggle Robber. This is 3 mana, one, 1 and 2 Gruul hybrids for a 3/3 Noggle Rogue. When it enters or dies, you get a treasure token. This is a 3 mana 3/3 that ramps twice. This card is bonkers. This card is so good. Somebody in chat the other night pointed out that it's kind of a jewel thief and it's kind of a piggy bank. And when you combine both of those cards, I think you have a sick magic card. This will trade in combat with something and then give you a second treasure token. It's good to sacrifice, I guess, if that's what you're trying to do. But just ultimately, I think this is a fine creature to throw down as a roadblock. If it dies in combat and takes something out with it, awesome. Ramp 2 on a 3 mana 3/3. Are you joking? Like that's am I wrong? Like, is this an insane common that no one's talking or uncommon that like no one's talking about? I love it.
I think it kind of reminds me, like I said, like you were mentioning, a little bit of piggy bank, the green black squirrel that makes a food when it enters, food when it dies.
Oh yeah, the
You know,
3/2 or whatever. Yeah.
yeah. There's a few cards we've had like that, and for some reason, it seems like they don't punch through. And I think Jewel
Mhm.
Thief is probably the closest comparison to this.
Yeah,
You know,
likely.
but yeah,
I
I
think
think
the
it's
big difference between this and Jewel Thief is that Jewel Thief had trample, and obviously it didn't make a treasure when it died. But
yeah. So
you
you
know,
trade off the trample for an additional treasure, which is
yeah,
reasonable. Yeah, I think at the very least this card is playable.
yeah,
I mean a 3 mana 3/3 that potentially gets you 2 treasure. So like worst case scenario, let's assume you play it, you get a treasure, it gets killed, you have a treasure, you start your next turn with minimum 5 mana, possibly 6 if you play
right.
another land, right?
Gross.
That's not terrible by any
No.
stretch. I mean, like that has to at least be reasonably playable. I mean, I can't imagine we can't say it's bad, like that's for sure. So yeah, I think as far as underrated, I think this qualifies.
Yeah. I think okay, like imagine your opponent plays this on turn 3. If they'd have played a Tersa Light Shatter, you can just kill that. If they'd have played like any
Yeah,
3-drop in standard, you just kill it. If you just kill this, like you're facing down 5 mana on the next turn. Like it's a
minimum 5 mana.
consideration, right? Minimum. If they haven't done any other ramping.
Yeah,
That's a real consideration, man. Like I really, really like this, like a lot. And I also feel like if your opponent does use like some sort of exile removal spell on it, like that's kind of good too. Like that, that's a torch the tower that they had to sack something for, and they're not going to use on another one of your guys. So, like, if they have to wipe it with an exile spell, yeah, you don't get a treasure, but you got rid of an exile spell out of their hand, and it still paid you the treasure when it ETB'd. Card just seems insane. It really
I tell
does,
people
man.
like this, right? A lot of times when you're ramping, you don't often need the mana forever. You're
Yeah,
mostly need it for that big 5, 6, 7 mana
7
thing
drop.
that at least the one time. Like, as an example, let's say you're talking about Smuggler Surprise, right? You're usually just needing to get it
Mm,
off the one time. So a lot of those decks that are ramping are just like, okay, I just need to get another land onto the battlefield. But like, if I could get technically 2 land and I get to block something for a turn, that's still pretty good,
that's fantastic.
right? So
Especially considering ramp decks, like they want to block. Like if you just played like a 3 mana go get a land thing on turn 3, you're going to get your face smashed in. But like this allows you to not get your face smashed in, probably kill something attacking you and get the treasure.
yeah, because I'm thinking against mono red or some of the blue green aggro decks or whatever. Like one, they're not going to want to bounce this because they're just going to give you more treasure, so that's fine.
Right.
So like
Right.
you play it, you get a 3/3, you probably block something, maybe kill one of their things. Oh, you might block a big thing just so it dies and you get the treasure. And then if you have another land, you're set up to Smuggler Surprise next turn or
Yep. Next turn.
random encounter, whatever your 6 mana choice is that you want to do, right? So I'm here for it. I think this could be pretty good.
It's like I also think that on a lot of attack steps, this could be just like 3 free damage. You know what I mean? Like even if your opponent can block it and
Yeah,
kill it, if you have open mana, who knows? They might just be like, look, if I kill that guy, they get a treasure token. I lose my dude. I'll just take 3. So
fair.
I think there's a lot to this. Look at it this way, and I know this is going to sound crazy. I think the worst thing, like the dumbest thing to compare this to, is Burning Tree Emissary. It is not that card, but what you could say is that this is kind of like a 3 mana explosive vegetation on a body. Like
I
that's like
think
an invasion of Ixalan with a body. Jeez Louise. It's
this is
crazy.
more going to have game effects like the 1/1 black creature when it dies, you could scry and make a treasure.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that dude.
Because your
Yeah.
opponents a lot of times are like, well, I don't want to ramp you. Right. So they just don't attack. Right. Like there's
That's another thing is
like
greedy
well this
freebooter is the dude we're talking about.
yeah.
That guy gets in 1 free damage constantly. That guy holds back whole teams of attackers because they don't want to give you a treasure like all the time. He
Yeah,
doesn't even
especially
have
if you're
death touch.
waiting because you're on 3 mana or on 4 mana, and they're like, well, I don't want to give you another one because I know how
Right.
dumb that can be. So it's just like I can't attack or
I
whatever.
just
Yeah.
can't do it.
Yeah.
I think this will even be worse because like this will at least take something out on that. Like greedy freebooter almost never has the ability to kill something.
Oh
Whereas this
yeah,
like
yeah.
can. Like in some ways, worst case scenario, you drop this on turn 3 and it doesn't die in combat. You know what I mean? Like you want to block and trade with this and get your treasure. If you start turn 4 with this on the table, you're like, well, I got to get rid of you somehow. You know what I mean? I just think like that makes for a good card to me. If the worst thing
I mean,
about the
okay.
card is like it might not die, that's just great.
What if okay, so turn 1 Llanowar Elf, turn 2 Noggle Robber.
Ah, ha, ha, ha.
So now I
Yes.
have 4 mana. It dies. I have 5 mana. I have 6 on turn 3 when I play a
3.
land. Yeah, so I can just Smuggler Surprise on turn 3.
Nice. On
Now, admittedly,
3,
you still have to have
baby.
2 other creatures in hand and blah blah blah. Like
Yeah.
like you still need Magic Christmas Land. But
I don't think it's Christmas land. I think that's a
well, I
scenario that
mean,
could play
you
out.
can also
Yeah.
just cast a thing, right? Like you could play Overlord of the Baelmerk or no, or whatever, right? Whatever you're
Or
playing,
Hot
right?
Woods or whatever. Yeah.
Boiler Bilges, right? Like since you're in red
Right.
green, right? So there's still things you could do that would be fine. It's like yeah, this card's solid. I have
Yeah.
no problems with it.
It's like just I'm so sorry. Just one more thing.
Yeah,
I
go
think that
for it.
it's potentially, you've already said like you play it on turn 3 and then you get a land on turn 4. So now you're at 5 mana on turn 4. You can go ahead and spend your treasure to play a 5-drop, like ramp into a
Yeah,
5-drop. And then at any point, if this dude does die, well, now you're at like 6, 7, 8 mana, right? Like depending on when he dies. And I think that's kind of huge too. Is like there's been a lot of games where I'm waiting to get to 6 or 7 mana and I'm just trying to draw a land. This guy can do that, like even if you've already spent the first treasure, this guy can eventually die in combat and get you that 7th mana you need to like Virtue of Persistence or whatever it is you're trying to do. Vault-born Tyrant. So I don't know. I think this guy he's not the best 3-drop in standard,
oh yeah,
but
not by any stretch, but he's a lot
I
of
think he's
value.
great.
A lot of
I
value.
can't think of like besides Tersa Light Shatter, like now that Screaming Nemesis is banned, I can't think of too many 3-drops I would rather play in Gruul than this guy and Tersa Light Shatter.
I
And
mean,
I think that says a
depending what the
lot.
format looks like, because there's the
Yeah.
4/4 raccoon that I've played that destroys
Yeah,
stuff
he's
or
pretty
whatever.
good.
He's
Yeah.
pretty good. Like there's a few, but not a lot. Not a lot.
Yeah. If you're trying to get truly aggressive, I don't know if this is the guy. So it kind of hurts that he's Gruul because Gruul is always
Sure.
aggressive. But I don't know. I still we're verging on talking about him for too long, but I just love him so much. So, with all that said, I should probably ask you what your number 3 is.
I'm making a commander play here with this
Oh,
one.
okay.
And Chronicle of Victory.
I almost put this card on my list too. This is going for too little for
Yeah,
Commander. I
it's
agree.
a 6 colorless mana or 6 generic mana, because if you say colors, people it's not really color. Whatever, you know what I'm saying. But 6 mana for a legendary artifact. As it enters, you choose a creature type. Creatures of the chosen type get +2/+2 and have first strike and trample for God knows why. And
right.
whenever you cast a spell of the chosen type, you draw a card.
Whoops. I
The
guess they figured
reason
Vanquisher's Banner wasn't like good enough. We'll just make a better Vanquisher's Banner. You play both.
that's exactly
Crazy.
where I'm going. That's why I think this is being undervalued, because there are cards like Vanquisher's Banner that still trade and sell very high. And that card's hell even had a reprint, like, and it's like okay, if this still goes in for a reasonable value, even with reprints, 5, 6, $7 sometimes, like, why would this not also be worth a lot?
Right.
Right? And you get more value, right? All your things at plus two, first strike and trample. Like on top of letting you draw a card. Like you play this is redundancy for all those other types of choose a creature type and get whatever, right? Whether it's draw a card, get some extra ability, get to look at your top couple of cards, put it in your hand. Like we have so many different versions of this and they all get played. Like even if this doesn't go up much more and it just stays at like the $15 to $18 range, I think it's still a fine card at $15 for my
Yeah, I
commander
would
deck.
say 10 or 15, like 15 at the most. That sounds like what the card should probably be worth given how much commander players like this stuff. And you know, sure, it's just kind of redundant with banish with Vanquisher's banner and a couple of like coat of arms and stuff.
Sure.
Um, right, but why not play all of those? Like I don't see a reason to not slot this into like elves or something.
Yeah,
Um,
elves, lizards, uh,
goblins,
slivers. Like,
humans,
yeah. Like,
zombies, just like literally everything.
I mean, hell,
Um,
elves, even just regular built, not even going out of your way, are probably casting this on like turn 3 or 4.
yeah, we've already
Yeah.
talked about lines in these two videos. We've talked about multiple lines get you 5, 6 mana on turn 3. So, it'd be easy enough, I think, even in just like cub decks, but I don't know what you're naming as the creature type.
Yeah, yeah.
But there's plenty of ways in standard to get this relatively early in the game.
I mean, if I'm
But as
playing
far as
elves in standard, I probably am throwing one of these in the deck as well.
I mean, why not one? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
one, give it a shot. Um, so yeah, but as far as I'm with you on Commander, like I said, I almost put this card on my list because I couldn't really figure it out either. There are cards that are obviously worse than this card for Commander, going for like almost double this card.
Yeah, which is
Um,
crazy to me.
it doesn't make sense. Like this just looks like the kind of card that would be $40 in pre-release season. But if it's this low in pre-release season, I imagine it's going to get pretty
I
low
mean,
once the set actually comes out.
we talked about some stuff in our overrated cards that are going for more than this, but we'll probably see less play.
Yeah, like Moon Shadow is a card that a lot of people have a lot of high hopes for competitive play, but it's like 30 something dollars right now, and it's obviously not a great commander card. And I actually think that commander drives prices more than just about any other format. So I was surprised this wasn't also $25, $30. I was really surprised by that. So
Yeah, this
yeah, I
card
don't
to
know.
me,
Maybe enough people haven't seen it or what.
I just think it goes into so many different decks is the thing. And the upside is so good. Like even if your hands empty and you don't even get to draw a card immediately, all your stuff getting +2 first strike and trample is gigantic.
Crazy. Absolutely
Yeah.
crazy. Like this does have, a lot of people want a card to have an effect on the table to turn you drop it. And like this definitely does,
Like imagine an elf deck, even in just regular standard now, right? Like just plays this on turn 4. And it's like, all right, I'm attacking with at least 2, probably 5/5s with first strike and trample.
Yeah.
Like that's not crazy. You know what I mean?
How do
Like
you,
that's a
you just
totally
kind of win outright when you do that. Yeah.
yeah, that's a totally
I
normal
mean,
thing if you wanted to do it. So kind of crazy.
people also, like, people forget how crazy first strike can be. Especially with a giant power toughness bonus. First strike is insane. So even if you have creatures to block it, they're going to kill your dudes and trample over. So I don't
Multiple
know.
things with first strike are so good because your opponent just has trouble with punching through.
Yeah, they can't do much about it, especially on defense. They can barely do any, like when you're on defense, they can
Yeah.
barely do anything about it. They can't attack into that. So yeah, just a really sort of intimidating card to think about facing down. And for what it's worth, I think it might be a fun card to include in certain like Ugin builds in standard because it's
Yeah,
colorless.
maybe.
So blows up something when you play it, and maybe even gives a whole team full of like little colorless guys or something. If you can finagle a creature type into it, you might be able to pull it off. There's a lot
You
of
could
ways
play
to use
this
it.
with the what's that? The enchantment, the artifact that makes the slivers every turn.
Ooh, yeah, yeah, Thrumming Hive Stone or
I
whatever
mean,
it's
I guess to
called.
be fair, they already
Um,
have double
I
strike. You'd
pull.
just be giving them trample, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, shoot, I'd take what is it? At that point, a 3/3 double striking, trampling, like every token is that. That's actually crazy.
Yeah.
But you can't draw any cards off of it. I want a creature type that actually
Yeah,
lets you draw
exactly.
cards.
That's the problem.
But we'll figure it out. It's a really fun card, and we've got historical evidence to prove this card is playable in standard or in commander for sure. So yeah, I'm surprised it isn't also outrageously expensive, really.
But all right. That brings us to number 2s, I believe.
Yeah, actually, already. My number two is a card that I think is very, very good in both Commander and Standard, and apparently nobody else really thinks so. This is Ashling's Command. Of all the commands, I think this
Mm.
is heads and shoulders the best one. If I'm not mistaken, this might be the only command that is an instant. I think a lot of them are sorceries. This costs 5 mana, 3 blue red for a kindred elemental instant. You can choose to create a token that's a copy of an elemental you control, or target player draws 2 cards, and or Ashling's Command deals 2 damage to each creature target player controls, and or target player creates 2 treasure tokens. So what I think this is at the bottom, at the absolute floor of the card, is a big score. Draw 2, make 2 treasures. So if that's the floor of the card, I think we got a pretty phenomenal freaking card here. In standard Jeskai control, could you see this card as a 1 or 2 of? Or is it too expensive?
It's possible. It really depends on how the rest of the deck is built. Because
Yeah.
there is a world where this could be a even up to a 3 of to
Okay.
set up the what do you call it? The 7 mana Jeskai spell, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Jeskai Revelation.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Because you play
yeah.
this,
If you
you
can
draw
cast this, you
2,
can cast Revelation.
yeah, you make
Yeah.
2 treasure, and then you revelation the next turn, right?
Ooh.
That's
Oh,
what
I hadn't even thought about that.
that's what I see this being rolled up into more often. Now, the question is, are you going to play 2 or 3 of these that cost 5, and then 2 or 3 revelations that cost 7, and then
Yeah.
also I'm assuming at least like 5 sweepers that cost some combination between 4 and 5, right? Like
Yeah.
that's a lot. So
I'm
you'd
just
have to
moving 4 split ups into my deck, right? I'm just
yeah, you kind of have to
I'm just
figure out where that all fits. But yeah, I could see at least a couple of copies of these in the Just Guy control deck. I mean, even if you just use the like deal 2 to everything, right? You're not even trying to
yeah,
set up your turn. Like deal 2 to
that's
everything, draw 2 cards. That might
yep.
buy you a couple turns.
That's fantastic. I think the sweeper mode on this is first of all it's one-sided. I think a lot of people are missing that.
Mhm.
This is a one-sided pyroclasm, which like yeah, for 5 mana pyroclasm isn't great, but I think it might be surprised the number of boards in standard you still like completely decimate with the pyroclasm mode on turn 5. I really like that mode a lot. So I don't know, man. I don't know how often you're going to do the copy elemental, but it is noteworthy that there are a lot of elementals that have ETB triggers. So if you do have a cool elemental, there's that mode. But again, I think, draw 2 pyroclasm in your team or draw 2, make 2 treasures. Yeah, I think those are both good enough. If the card was sorcery speed, I wouldn't be talking about it at all. But the fact that this is an instant, I think it makes it playable.
I
Like,
don't think you
and
ever like I think in all the popular places this shows up, you're never going to copy an elemental.
probably not.
Like the other 3
Probably.
ability, really to be honest, you're probably most of the time drawing 2 and making 2 treasure. But
If I had to guess, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but at least the third option is reasonable, defensively. So yeah, I don't have an issue with this card at all. I think definitely it's probably, if not the most played, probably the second most played of the commands. Like it's
The
very good.
command.
Very
Yeah, I
good.
think it's like $3, like 350
Something
right
like
now.
that.
And
Yeah.
yeah, that is criminally low for I think a card that's going to see a lot of play, at least in Commander. But again, I could definitely see this in Standard all
Yeah,
day.
also, let's say
Sure.
too, this is also assuming you're just playing it on turn 5, right? Like there's
Yeah.
million different artifacts and things you could play that generate mana or whatever in various decks that you may be playing this on turn 4 or turn 3. So who knows?
Yeah. At which point, I think if you're getting it on like EOT turn 4, it's like way better. It's like really good there.
Yeah, and it's not unreasonable. We've seen like various like 3 color, different types of control with Teamer and whatever playing the cornucopia and stuff like that. So like
Yeah. Yeah.
this could work in that type of pile. I don't think that would be
Absolutely.
unreal.
It's actually a really good place for it. Believe it or not, I think that's fantastic. Like, draw 2, get 2 treasures, gain 2 life or whatever from the cornucopia.
Yeah.
You played it on 4. That's wonderful. That's
And
really
then
good.
you follow up with the what is it? The dragon enchantment that deals 3 to everything and like
Oh, yeah, assault.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And
dragon
then
back
gain
assault.
3 off of that.
Yeah. So there you go. So
See,
there's some
it's a
silly
good
things you
work.
could do with this for sure.
Yeah, man. Just all together, I like the card. And picture just one last thing. Picture that you're like playing aggro or something. You're duking it out with control. And at the end of your turn, they kill 2 of your guys and draw 2 cards.
Yeah,
You just lost that game. Like
for
you're
sure.
pretty much guaranteed to lose that game. So I don't know, man. There's too much. There's too much I like about it, I guess.
No, the card's good. It's a very good card. Good call.
Thank you. But I think we're on your number one, aren't we?
My number 2, I think it
Oh
is.
yeah, you. That's right. I went first. We're on your number two. Sorry.
So, this is one that I think everybody agrees is playable, but it might be even better than we think it is,
Hmm.
and that's Mutable Explorer.
Oh yeah, this guy's wild.
2 and a green for a 1/1 changeling. But when it enters, you make a tapped Mutavault, which is a land that taps for colors that can also be turned into a 2/2 creature.
And the 2/2 is all creature types.
Yeah,
When you turn the land, that's wow. It's really
yeah.
good.
And there's so much about this card because again, I think we talked about it earlier, but there's a lot of times you're just willing to play a ramp spell for 3 mana, right? This gets you a ramp spell because it goes and gets a land, sort of. Uh, Gives you a 1/1 creature, but also gives you more things that can be all creature types. So if you have anything now again, I don't know how important creature themes are going to be yet in green or green base, but if they are, this card could have a lot of weight. So it's probably fairly priced right now, but if anything comes up that starts to care about creature types, this gains so much more value, I think. Like just ramping up, getting a body and getting the land and being able to have multiple creature types, there's a lot of value to be had there.
I think one of the secrets to this, outside of like kindred specific decks, is its incredible blink ability.
Yeah.
Summon Fenrir is probably the thing that we see the most of nowadays. These like 3 mana rampers. That's because Summon Fenrir is pretty good at like trading in combat. It's got 3 power. But very often I don't really get much use out of the other 2 chapters on Summon Fenrir beyond the first one. I guess Overlord of the Hauntwoods is another 3 mana version of this. We got a few Lumbering World Wagon,
Hmm.
but I think that this is the most blinkable of all of them because if you think about it, this is the only like 3 mana rampa thing that we have in standard that actually creates 2 guys in a
Yeah.
way, right? It's kind of making 2 creatures, which you can't say about any of these other ones. And if you blink it even once, or maybe bounce it with some sort of effect, boomerang basics, play it again, getting multiple Mutavaults basically invalidates sweepers for the rest of the game. It invalidates a lot of different forms of removal for the rest of the game. Now those 2 things, like you have 2 things with changeling, right? So that is 2 guys with the same creature type, no matter what. So like there's a lot of cool things about getting multiple copies of this card. I would say that the first copy of Summon Fenrir is great. It's probably around on par with this. The second copy of this card, I think, is always going to be better than the second copy of Summon Fenrir because having 2 Mutavaults is always going to be better than having 2 like random basic lands. For the most part, this doesn't fix your mana in terms of getting you colors, which isn't great. But for the most part, I think the decks that play this are going to, not really have to care about. You're not going to see this in like a 5-color deck.
Yeah.
So
I
I think
will
this is crazy.
I will also say there's been a lot of times you'll see like a mono green aggro deck playing some colorless creature land just to have another land threat. Now that's
Yep.
changed a little bit since Bossing Say's come around and entered standard,
Mm.
but having more creature lands for the control matchups isn't a bad thing. I'm okay with that. So yeah, again, and I'm with you. There's already been a few things that kind of did the blink thing for a couple of things. And honestly, the Airbender Ascension, there's already a little
Yeah.
bit you could do there. So that
Oh
could be
my
a thing.
god.
So like, yeah, there's
That's
some options with this card for sure that could make it pretty silly.
that's a good call, by the way. Airbender Ascension. That's really good. It's like blink it like every turn, get a Mutable every turn. That'd be fun.
Yeah, why not? It's an extra creature every turn, right?
Yeah, I like the way our lists are shaking out because I also looked at this for my list for the exact same reason. I feel like this is the price it's at right now is what I figured the price would be after pre-release.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But
I think it's a
it's
fair price
yeah,
right now. Yeah.
exactly. I think it's a good price. Now the card probably go down. I don't really see this card being like super expensive before it's all said and done, but it's worth noting. I think like Mutavault still carries a few bucks just by itself. Um, so I wouldn't be surprised if this one saw a lot of play. I wouldn't be surprised if this one was like immediately the best 3 mana way to get a land in standard, depending on how many colors you're making. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think that people, I was surprisingly, I thought that people were going to be like super hype about this card, but I haven't actually heard that much about it. I think people are underestimating it
Yeah,
for
I think
sure.
people like it. I just think it's like a lot of cards in the set where we don't ultimately know what its best use is going to be yet.
Yeah, agreed, agreed.
But all
What is
right.
its type? It's a changeling too, right?
Yeah.
That's great. That's so good. It's so good.
Okay, this is going to bring us to our number ones. So, what is your
Yep.
number one underrated card in this set?
Ooh, well, my number one card is actually the cheapest card we're going to look at so far today is 50 cents
Okay.
for and I'll say a lot of like uncommons in the set are still pre-ordering for $2. So that should tell you something about Mudbutton Cursetosser. First of all, you can call this card Mudbutt. And I like that. You can also call it a butt tosser if you feel like doing that. There's just a lot of fun nicknames for this
I
card.
mean, if you have mud butt, that's like a term that's not good.
Yeah, if you have mud butt, you really shouldn't be tossing. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
exactly.
The grossest thing we'll ever say here. But this is a single black mana for a 2/1 goblin warlock. As an additional cost to cast it, behold a goblin or pay 2. This guy can't block. When this creature dies, get a load of this line of text. When this creature dies, destroy target creature an opponent controls with power 2 or less. How is this guy 50 cents? Is this not the best aristocrats one drop you've ever seen in your life? Is this not? I mean, like, I get like infestation sage and creatures like that are good in like the Sephiroth builds right now. And I also get that you have to have goblins to make this a cheap enough card to get mana value and all that. But assuming that your opponent's playing small creatures, which they won't always be doing. Okay, I'm adding some caveats here, but assuming that you are playing against smallish creatures, is this card not I won't say broken, but like the best aristocrats one drop you could possibly hope for? A thing that when you cast your bone splinters or your village rites, right, you get the value off of that 1 mana removal spell, but you also get a removal spell. Like there's a removal spell on a body. That's
I don't
Is that not
even
insane?
I don't even worry about it in that sense. I'm just thinking if I'm playing black green goblin or black red goblins,
Mm-hmm.
this is just a reasonable card to play, right? Because
It's a 2/1.
goblins don't have that many quality one drops right now, right? You
Nope.
get the one that makes the 1/1 token you attack, and then everything else is kind of just okay that you can play, right? At one. This is actually a reasonable 2/1 for one, and then it has an upside. Like, sure, it can't block, but if goblins are blocking, they're probably dying anyway. So
Exactly.
that's not the world we want to be in. So like, yeah, I'm okay with this card on a lot of fronts. I think if again, there's a lot of goblins in the set, so if people choose to play aggro goblins, this has to make the cut. It doesn't
Well,
make sense that it wouldn't. And then
they're
if it dies, that's
changelings
just
and
upside, right?
right. Yeah, that's it. That's exactly right. Like if it's just attacking for damage, good. It's a Savannah Lions. You know, it's an aggro-y creature. If it ever does die for any reason, whether it's in combat or you sacrifice it or something, then like massive upside. You can get mana value off of killing something with this dude. And I don't know, man. I think that's wild. I'm an aristocrats player. That's my favorite deck. You know, it's like what I'm known for around here. And I don't remember off the top of my head seeing a one drop in the last 5 years that I was like, oh my God, that's the guy. That's the guy for aristocrat. You know what I mean? Like you see infestation sage and you're like, okay, Doom Traveler or a greedy freebooter. And you're like, okay, a rampy aristocrats guy. That's cool. But you just almost never see one of these dudes that kills a guy. If I cast bone splinters, I get to kill 2 guys because this guy's on the table. If I can, do you understand? If I village rights, I draw 2 and kill a guy. That's,
Oh, sure. I'm not even worried about that. Like, I'm
that's
just like,
crazy.
I'm just going to be aggressive with it in goblins. And then, if you play an Ouroboros or you play an Ice Tail Explorer, I'll just like shoot my own guy with the 2 damage spell.
And
Kill your
kill like
dude.
their badger mole or something. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? As the creature does, yeah. And I mean, like Ouroboros is power 2 or less. It totally works that way. Like, you can take out a 4 drop with this
Yeah.
guy.
Like,
So
I'm
it
good with it.
just like a massively played 4 drop for that matter.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I really like this little guy so much. And I acknowledge there are some restrictions on it and all that, but I still feel like it's the aristocrats creature I've been waiting like 15 years for. Um, just so much better than it looks, even with the restrictions. I love this guy so much. I love his little nicknames. I love the way it looks. Look at her. Wood. You know what I mean? I absolutely. She got a little frog on a string. Absolutely. But just the card is insane to me. It might be my favorite card in the set before it's all said and done. I can't wait to play with it, which is not true of every card in the set. And this slot, this is above all. This is the card that makes me actually want to put together goblins. There's only like 2 cards that
Okay.
make me want to do that. This card is 50 cents and the other most expensive card in the set is a goblin, and it's like $30. And that card does not make me want to play goblins. This does. I'm talking about like, what is it, Vexing Squelcher or something like
Yeah,
that.
that card's
Um,
just generally good for
that
a
card's
lot of
very good.
reasons. Yeah.
But this man, again, I think that of all the cards in the set, it's the one that I want to sit down and play with the most. And I don't think anyone else on the entire internet has that opinion. So I'm going to call that underrated, in my
Fair.
opinion.
Fair.
But whew, all that, I've gone off on my favorite thing. What is your number one underrated card?
Well, it's time to fire up your Sir Mix-a-Lot because this guy likes big butts.
I told her, yes, but I like big butts.
It's Doran Besieged by Time. And
The
it's
sleeperiest card. Okay.
yeah, it's 1 white, black, green for an 0/5 tree folk druid. Each creature spell you cast with toughness greater than its power costs 1 less to cast. And whenever a creature you control attacks or blocks, it gets plus X till end of turn, where X is a difference between its power and toughness. So if you have a 4/6, it gets an additional +2/+2.
+2/+2.
I think that we'll call them the big back ends decks, the high toughness decks, have been on the cusp for a while. I felt like we've been missing 1 or 2 pieces. And I feel like this could be one of those pieces. Partly because it brings the cost of everything down, which is huge, right? Because that's the other problem, right? You have these big 4/6s and 3/5s and whatever, but they all cost 5, 6, 7 mana a lot of time. Or hell, Beltor or whatever, the dragon is 6 mana, I think.
Very expensive, yeah.
But if they all cost 1 less, well, now we're having a different conversation, And then on top of that, you get extra value when you're attacking.
Yeah.
Or blocking, I guess, as it says. So most likely worried about the attacking. So I think this could make that type of deck playable. And technically, this is a 4 mana 5/5 with 2 abilities.
Right.
You know what I mean?
With no downside. Yeah.
That's pretty strong for this card. And getting the 3 color mana is going to be easy. I don't think that's going to be a problem. Like, it is legendary, so there's that. But I'm here for it. I think this could be really cool. And you'll be able to pick these up probably for about $6 or $7.
Yeah, I think they're relatively cheap right now. Like $9, $8.50. But yeah, whenever a creature you control, first of all, I didn't catch the or blocks on this, so that's pretty sick. But it has potentially an effect on the game state the turn you play it. And that effect could be like a mini overrun, man. Like on turn 2, I played a 1/3. And then on turn 3, I played, a 1/5 or something. So now I'm coming in for exactly how much damage at that point?
Oh, actually,
like a million?
No, this is better
on 4.
This is better than a 5/5. It's a 5/10.
Technically, yes.
Because it gets plus X plus X. So it gets 5. So yeah, 5/10.
It really is a 5/10. Yeah. And if you do have a 1/5, it'll swing as like a 5/9 or something.
Yeah.
So some ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. I think that's the best thing about this is the fact that I can drop this on turn 4 and just like kind of alpha. Like if my, board state looks good enough.
But think about this though. We do have a 2 mana 0/4 elf that makes mana of any color. Right?
Yes, we do.
You can play that on turn 2. Turn 3, there's a billion things you could play in those 3 colors that are 2 3s, 3 4s, whatever. What is Sentinel of the Nameless City, whatever, right?
Yeah, 3 4. Yeah.
There's a bunch of quality things.
Preacher of the Schism, 2 4.
Bunch of stuff that fits in that slot. And then you play this on 4. I don't know if your opponent can attack through that.
Probably not. Especially, getting the boost when they block is crazy. It's very good. One thing too that I don't know how many people will like really notice about this is that it's just the difference between the power and the toughness. So yeah, it works with 1/5s, but it also works with 5/1s.
Yeah.
So there's still a difference of 4 between their PT at that point. So, you got 3 1s. It works too. So I don't know. That's.
I mean, I guess you could play. Oh, what's that guy? The knight with the adventure on it. The 3/2 for 2.
Oh, Mossborn Dread Knight.
Yeah.
Or Mosswood Dread Knight. Yeah.
Mosswood Dread Knight.
Yeah.
That's reasonable. That's a quality card. You'd play that anyway.
Quite.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are plenty of cards that have like a weird power toughness differential. Like, what is it? I always forget the name of it, even though I play it all the time. I think it's Sinkhole Surveyor. Starts as like a 1/3 flyer, and then you can put a +1/+1 counter on it every turn, or make a guy every turn.
You know what?
And that would,
I'm gonna make a crazy declaration here.
yeah,
People are gonna lose games on Arena to this card because they're not gonna understand how the math works.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like even once it's down, people are gonna like not really get it. You know
Well,
what I
yeah.
mean?
Well, because think about it. Even the Mosswood Dread Knight is like, well, that's actually a 4/3 when it blocks.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah,
I
I
mean?
think this is gonna murder people on blocks like all the time. People are gonna shame scoop after attacking in like constantly. Because I think you're right. People will both forget that it does that on blocks, and they'll not really get how the math works. So I agree. I think that will absolutely happen.
Oh,
Just
it's gonna happen to me at
scoop
least one time, and I know how the card works.
right. Like guaranteed. Same. Yeah, I'm not calling anybody stupid or anything. I will do it like 5 times before it's all said. Oh yeah, there's a Doran. I forgot how that works. But yeah, I hadn't even really considered this card for the list because I made the cardinal sin of being like, commander card. But like, really, you can get this on turn 3 in standard, like pretty easily.
Yeah.
And then you can either play something huge next turn, or maybe you play like 2 smaller guys. Cost reduction is always good. And, relevance the turn they hit the board is good. Just everything the card does is actually pretty freaking good when it comes down to it. So, yeah, I think it's a good pick there.
Yep. It's one that I think people look at and go like, oh, it's gimmicky and, bigger toughness or whatever. It's like, no, this works with a lot of cards. And it's all upside.
I want to say we have like I want to say it's like a 4/1 death touch for a single mana or something like that. It may have defender.
Yeah, no, he has menace, and if you target him, you have to discard a card, whatever.
Yeah, something like, the 2 mana guy. Yeah, like Sunset Saboteur or something like that.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of like pretty aggressive dudes with like a relatively high difference between their PT, P and their T. So yeah, this works with all of them in a good color combination too, by the way. I don't think it's going to be too hard to make abs in work, and I like it.
Some of your life gain angels are 3/4s and 4/5s, like that works
like,
there
there's
too.
some like 2 5s in standard that might be halfway decent, so
yeah,
I mean, I gotta agree altogether. Not a bad call on that one. Hell.
Well, all right. Those are our 10 cards that we think are underrated from the set. I'm sure everybody's going to have their own opinion, so let us know in the comments like usual. I don't even know what I have to tell you because you're going to say either we're stupid or why did y'all not talk about this card? Which, guys, to be fair, we can't talk about every card or this would be like a 3-hour thing. Like that.
We talked about 10 cards and we're an hour in. So
yeah,
if you want us to do like I don't know. We don't want to dare them. Like, you want us to do a 10-hour set review? They'd all be like, yes.
I already know what they want us to do, but I'm not going to bring it up because they're already going to comment it on anyway. So
right. Don't worry. We'll do it eventually. Anyway, y'all.
But all right,
a fun one.
Why don't you tell everybody where they can find you when you're not hanging out talking about cards over here?
Well, I am usually hanging out with PowrDragn, but just in case I'm not, you can check me out over at SBMTG, or if you want to type a lot more than that into your YouTube search bar, you can put in Strictly Better MTG. I am not strictly better than anybody. It's just a play on words. Anyway, we're going to be doing the top 10 sleepers in the set coming up in the next couple of days. And I do not repeat cards between the underrated and the sleepers list. If you want to see 10 more that I think are kind of sleepery, then come on over to the channel, check us out. We got the top 25 cards coming out soon too, pre-release guides and decks and all kinds of. I'm a Magic the Gathering YouTuber. I do all this stuff that Magic the Gathering YouTubers do. Come see me.
Yeah, and I will have lots of stuff related to Lorwyn coming up, but also a fun video where I'm going to get to interview the arena devs here in about 2 weeks. And we have some stuff coming up that we're going to try to dispel every arena rumor that you think is a thing. So you may want to subscribe so you don't miss that. Otherwise, wherever you're watching or listening, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Please remember to take care of your family. Remember to be awesome. Most importantly, be awesome to each other. We'll catch you in the next one.